Hey, hello Soul Fam, and welcome at last to the resume or the resuming of the live weekly astrological forecasts. And what a week we've had, and what a week we're gonna have. So let's just think about this Gemini energy, because I'm looking at some of the chat that you've already put up, and it's very interesting because it kind of fits in with the subject I was going to talk about, because I think we have to think about the energy of Gemini. Gemini is the twins. It's about duality. This can be about two faces. So this can be about toxicity in relationships or with friends. This can be about someone showing one face to you and another in private or to others. So I'm just going to throw these things on our table while I kind of unpack for you why I'm thinking that this new moon we've just had on Thursday and the energy that is building up for this week is actually so crazy and challenging. So let's just think again about Gemini. It's about communication. And remember, Gemini keeps everything in a kind of mental cerebral area, not in a soul-centered, emotional, intuitive place. So this means that everybody is running around light and fluffy and being all wonderful and being all chatty. But what's going on underneath? What's the shadow saying? Now, the new moon we've just had in Gemini was talking about, and we think of new moons, nice new energy, positive, set your good intentions. And we forget that that new moon had Saturn in Pisces, our planet of restriction, of boundaries, of timing, making a hard square to the new moon. This tells us everything. Why does this tell us everything? This tells us everything because Saturn is saying this is a new moon about clearing the decks. So then we go back and we think, well, what does Gemini represent? What does the moon represent? Well, the moon can be the people. Gemini can be friends. Do you have issues in friendships or close relationships that really need to be addressed? How easy is it to have those difficult discussions with another? How easy is it to mend rifts in friendships and relationships? I mean, please let me know in the chat, because I'd love to know how this week has been unfolding for you, the week we've just had. Because yesterday, Venus, our planet of relationship, self-value, and our planet that is currently just peeping out from the other side of the sun, was squaring Saturn. There's something here about difficulties with the feminine shadow. Now that can be the feminine shadow in you. That can be the feminine shadow in another. This can be the feminine shadow in a man, someone of the opposite sex. It can be all about the difficulties that we pick up on those higher frequencies. So I just bring this to you because Neptune is also sextiling Pluto, and this sextile from Neptune that is all about confusion, delusion, illusion, mystery, the unseen, the unknown. Neptune, that is the ruler of Pisces. Neptune is sextiling Pluto. Pluto is our planet of kind of transmutation, of transforming, of endings, of beginnings. This new moon we've just had wasn't just about new beginnings. It was about clearing the decks, changing the energy, sweeping out, getting rid of what no longer needs to be in your energy. Please let me know if any of this is making sense to you, because I think it's important that I find out where you are in your kind of energy. You know, it's so we've got hello from cold, wet, rainy Ireland. Sorry about that, Janice. Hope your back's getting better. So Andy, you're saying that sounds about right. So yes, it's, let me ask you a question. Who sincerely in your life, male or female, has your back? Who sincerely is on team you? Who is on your team? Who celebrates your successes with you? Who encourages you to do your very best? Who does this kind of where you feel a sense of, yes, well done, I'm so pleased for you. But behind it, you feel there is something that isn't very comfortable. Right, so someone here, Deirdis, you're saying you can only count on one person. Ha, Andy, I'm your person, am I? Well, I'm certainly on your team, Andy. And Simi, you're saying no one you can think of honestly. You're your own cheerleader. We shouldn't have to be our own cheerleaders. I mean, I can only count, I have to say, apart from all you lovely guys, I can probably only count 4 of 5 fingers. Oh, hang on, thumb and 4 fingers. I can probably only count for 4 of all of these to say that there are people who are on my team. And that's a lot. I'm blessed. This energy we are in at the moment, Gemini energy, remember Gemini has 2 sides to it. As I said, it's duality. So what is the dark shadow side of Gemini? Is this what you have been experiencing? Are people talking about you, or do you feel people are talking about you behind your back, or being critical of you, or envious of your success? And Cosmic BL, you're saying you have your own back. You won't wait for anyone else. See me. Oh, yes. Okay. So, you know, and I think Tiffany is, let me know, has she had her baby? Someone's had a baby? That's fantastic. Sun square Saturn. What do you need to get rid of? The moon was square Saturn with the sun, with the new moon. Saturn, you know, also brings endings. The moon can be about the people. You've got the moon, feminine. You've got the sun, masculine. Who, what, where in your life is not on your team? Think about it. Janice, you're in isolation. That's not good. Isolation is not good for us. We are tribal beings. We need, you know, that's why we do these. This is why we build our soul fam community, because it brings us all together at this time on a Sunday to connect, to share, to look at the energies, to see what we can make of it, to see how we can use the energies constructively for the following week. So, Tiffany, I think you've had a baby. Congratulations. And I really wish you and your baby the best of health and the best of life, the best of everything. So, hi, Andy. Sunday mornings are a priority for you for this exact reason. I mean, it's a little bit like, it's almost like with religion, because we tend to talk about it sometimes. We used to have a community that would use the local church, whatever denomination you follow, whatever religion you follow, there will be a day of the week that is your day of the week. And, you know, I'm not for or against anyone's beliefs or choices. It's a personal choice. It is our soul fam's personal choice to be here on a Sunday at this time. But the reason I'm getting round and I'm going over all these kind of things is because I want you to also think about what you might have outgrown in your life. Are you clinging on to situations or people that are holding you back, that you need to let go of? You know, also, let me see, it's Neptune, I think. Neptune is sextiling Sedna. Now, you know, I've talked about Sedna. Sedna is the daughter of the guy rowing the rowing boat or the canoe, who they're in a storm and there are other people on the boat. And he says, we're going to have to get rid of someone. So I'm afraid my daughter's going to have to go because we're all going to die in this storm otherwise. So sorry, love, out you go. Shoves her out of the boat, cuts her hands off and her arms as she tries to grab onto the side of the boat. Is this familiar in any of your relationships? But if you think about the symbolism of this, the masculine is about authority. The masculine is actually, in this instance, the authoritative part of you. The masculine side of you saying, let go. Let go of that has no place in your life anymore. So I'm saying this as well, not just because of the energy over this weekend, but because on Tuesday, and we're in the energy building up now, we have a hard square between Mars, who's just about to leave Aries. Mars, our god of action, energy, assertion, sexuality, and war, fighting, aggression. Mars is squaring Pluto. This is not good. So this is not good because this can bring out the worst in people. Pluto is retrograde. So this is Tuesday. So think about Tuesday. If you have to go to busy, crowded places on Tuesday, I'd avoid them. I really would. If you can take that off your list, if you can have a kind of day where you just stay quiet and keep your own counsel and keep away from busy places, crowded places, I think it's the best thing to do with that energy around. Also, we have to remember, and I'm really not trying to be a scaremonger, I'm just talking about the energies, but Pluto in Aquarius can also represent aviation. So there may be troubles with flights, there may be incidents on board flights, there may be delays because of just difficulties, problems, assertion, aggression. So, you know, I don't dwell on these things because I don't want to invite them in. I don't want to give them energy. But it's really important to be aware that this Mars-Pluto square on Tuesday is really tough. It's the kind of energy where I'm afraid, sadly, there may be casualties. And what you're asking about health problems, Simi. Listen, it depends on your own chart and where Mars and Pluto are in your own chart. If you write in the notes what your rising sign is, if you know it, I'll see if I can let you know how that's going to affect you. Because obviously all these energies do affect us. And this Mars-Pluto energy is really going to be around all week. So this just could, your Gemini ascendant, right? So you've had that new moon either in your 12th house or on your ascendant or in your first. The new moon was at about 16 degrees. So you'll know what the degree of your ascendant is. So it puts Mars in your 12th house. So this is more about your fears and your anxieties and your inner musings and really worrying about stuff. So Simi, be careful that you don't get caught in the overthinking and the paranoia that the shadow side of Gemini can bring out, and that you get caught in that kind of energy, because that is not going to be helpful for you. And it's not helpful for the collective energy. So, you know, if you are a Gemini ascendant, then that Mars is in the 12th house. So it's really pushing you to learn about yourself. What we have to do is see all these blocks and obstacles as wonderful gifts from the cosmos, wonderful opportunities for personal growth. If we can do that, then we have really turned a big corner. Go, yes, yes, bring it on. Bring it on. Because what we do with the astrology for a week ahead, say, is it is a weather forecast. So I'm the astrological weather reader. I'm just telling you what the energies and where the moon is going to be this week and how it's going to affect us. For instance, today the moon started off in Cancer and it's moved into Leo, and Mars is moving into Taurus as we speak. So Mars is actually at the 0 point of Taurus. Mars isn't comfortable in Taurus. Mars finds Taurus too heavy going, too fixed for his ferocious, assertive energy. He needs a bit of room to flex his muscles. So, oh, Andy, bless you. You're way too scared to say, bring it on. Well, maybe leave it a week then, if you're not sure that you have the courage to deal with what might be brought on. Because, you know, this energy, or let's say the weather forecast for this week, and I do know that we've had some strong solar flares again over the last few days. So we may be feeling a bit discombobulated. We may be feeling overtired. We may be feeling over emotional. We may be feeling like retreating and hiding and going into isolation. But also, Gemini energy is about talking and communicating. So actually, we need good communication with others. People that are on our team, we need to have good, positive energy. Oh my God, Annabelle, I'm just reading your message. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Annabelle has lost 2 very dear friends in the last 5 weeks. Can you recommend any crystals to help support with all the energy affecting folk? Well, you know, amethyst is always a good all-round protection. And if any of you are crystal experts, pop it in the chat and I'll pass it on. But, you know, just clear quartz as well. Obsidian, that's just popped into my mind. So, hi, Simi, you've just been diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. Oh God, and your daughter with lupus, a hard week. That is tough going. That is really, really, really tough going. I'm so sorry. And you see what I mean? There's a lot going on this week. There's a lot being, it's almost like this Gemini new moon has put us through a kind of inner purging, as if all these things have got to come out. All the words, the thoughts, the stuff we keep hidden, the feelings we have about others, they have to come out. They have to be exorcised. Otherwise, they fester away in us and cause us incredible discomfort. So, Nikki, you're saying it's also been a difficult week, but you're feeling better. Lost some streams of income. That's not good. You do know that I talk sometimes about frequency and about how we have to be on the right frequency as that we are attracting or wish to attract. As Nikola Tesla said, be on the same frequency as that which you wish to attract into your life. However, you've got to know what it is you want to attract into your life. So why not use the positive side of this new moon in Gemini that we're still in the energy of? And I haven't even got on to Jupiter, because I'm going to come to that in a minute. But why not flip this energy? Think about how you can grow from all the challenges that are being dished out to you like a bad hand of cards. Look at that hand of cards, and think, deal with each card and think, okay, what is the cosmos trying to teach me with this? What does the cosmos want me to know? How does the cosmos want me to change? Or whatever your word is for the divine, God, the all of the all, whatever that word is. So every negative that comes into our life, we have to find a way to flip it, to say, okay, this has been put in my path or put on my path. What's it trying to teach me? How do I get through this obstacle? Do I go round it? Do I go over it? Do I face it? Do I unpack it and look at what it represents so that I can work out the best way to move beyond it? Because, there's a saying, isn't there, that we're never given anything in our lives that we can't deal with. Everything, and I know this is really difficult with people that are having really difficult experiences. Everything does happen for a reason. And, I've reached a point in my life where I've got to the point where I've been through and survived a lot of enormous difficulties. And I've overcome a huge amount of obstacles to get to the place I'm in now. And I know the universe will still find a few more things to throw my way and say, haha, yes, but you haven't dealt with this yet. But I'm in a much better place now to go, okay, this has happened. How do I steer my course through this? How do I find a way to find my inner strength to deal with this? Now, I'm talking about these things because we are in Gemini season, and Jupiter is in Gemini. And Jupiter has just widened out from a beautiful trine from Pluto. So we don't only, I'm getting all the bad stuff out the way first, and then I'm saving it for all the good stuff. Because, I think, see me, you keep wondering how many tower moments you can handle. And, you'd be surprised at the resilience of human nature. We're never given anything that we cannot find a way to cope with. And and you know what they say, if the same lesson keeps reappearing, what aren't you getting? What do you need to change about your way of dealing with this particular lesson, with your behavior, your attitude, your approach? We can all be quite hard-headed and stubborn at times. We get conditioned by life events. We get, really damaged and hurt by what life sends out to us. So if we look at, if I come back to this week, I want to say that the most striking energy we have this week, when I used to do the heads ups, this would have been a heads up. Mars in Taurus squares Pluto in retrograde. Sorry, Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. I'm reading what I've written. And what we have to look at, and the moon will actually be in Leo. So that is also quite important to think where the moon is, because the moon, and I'm just going to my, where is it? Hold on, my chart about Mars square Pluto, but the moon will actually be in, no, it won't. Hang on. Bear with me 1 minute, because I will be there in a minute. I just want to go on a couple of days. I wish I could have these charts up. So I've gone on to the 11th of June. Right, the moon is in Leo on the 11th of June, which is Tuesday, when we have this Mars square Saturn. Mars will be at 1 degree of Taurus, and Pluto will be at 1 degree retrograde of Aquarius. In the event chart, the moon is in Leo. Leo is fire. Mars is a fire planet in an earth sign. This could also bring Uranus awake. This could also see wildfires. This could also see earthquakes, earth movement, volcanic eruptions. This can also be, hi Parry, good to see you. And this could also be those kind of energies. It's like when a weathercaster does the weather forecast. They can say, well, I think you should take an umbrella out tomorrow, but you may not need it because maybe the wind will change at lunchtime and it'll miss you. Please don't dwell on these energies in any way in particular, because sometimes we can get so bogged down in the minutiae and the detail, which is Gemini, which is why I'm dwelling on it, because we're in Gemini season. So I'm absolutely hanging, giving out Gemini energy. Katie, okay, Annabelle, Sapphire, Katie recommends wearing tiger's eye on the left side, receiving, and bronzite on the right side, sending. Thank you, Katie. Great piece of information. Fantastic. So I hope you got that, Annabelle Sapphire. Just sit back and see what's going on Tuesday, well, let's say actually from tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're going to be in this energy. And I would advise you seriously to keep away from busy, crowded places. I think there's going to be, and also, if there are friends or relationships, you know, with a significant other that you need to have a particularly important conversation with, unless you want it to get completely out of hand, don't do it Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Because I do think that actually the energy of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is not going to be very helpful, because we are going to get caught up in the detail, in paranoia. We're not going to be listening to what the other says, and we are going to react. So as much as you know not to react to situations, to just respond, you are going to be reactive over the next 3 days. And it's so difficult to keep on that kind of path of responding, mindfulness to responding. Be mindful to respond to what you see. If you watch the news, be mindful to respond to it. Because we've got to still remember about Neptune at its anaretic degree of Pisces. This is the last degree of the entire zodiac. This is big deal stuff. This is really a big deal. Neptune, that rules Pisces, is kind of creating a smokescreen, a kind of a haze, a kind of area of confusion and delusion and illusion that we can't, a fog that we can't see through to how the next 2 or 3 years are going to unfold. Next year is pivotal. You'll see that when in late summer I do my 2025 videos and get them up on the channel. And 2026, when Neptune has this, you will hear talked about conjunction with Saturn in the first anaretic degree of Aries, that's major. We have to really, really, really slow down this week. And that's the other thing I want to say before I come on to Jupiter. Because this week and all through the next couple of weeks, Saturn is slowing down. Remember, Saturn is our planet of going slow anyway and timing. Saturn is our big boy that likes rules, boundaries, and restrictions. Saturn is laying down the law over the next 2 to 3 weeks, till the end of June. Saturn is slowing down to turn retrograde on the 29th. And then Saturn will retreat through Pisces to, I think it goes back to about 13, 14 degrees. It doesn't go back that far before it turns direct again. But it's going to be kind of doing this. That energy is giving you the opportunity to re-look at, to find a way through anything in your life that is evoking paranoia, fogginess, just lack of clarity, not seeing things clearly. There's also some energy around this that is about, because I'm thinking of Neptune as well, of more news that comes out about viruses, poisons, and maybe we get more news about what actually went on, nearly 2 years ago now, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, in the pandemic. There is an element of that, you know, secrets revealed. Because remember Mars that is squaring Pluto, that's another aspect that can come up on Tuesday. Secrets that no one at all wants revealed get revealed. That could be in your personal life. If anyone's been having any shenanigans, they better be careful, because your other half might just find out. And this brings difficulties, upsets, anger, aggression, and violent thoughts. Yes, Parry, very, very wise words. We all deserve a peaceful and healthy life unfolding in the mystery, moment by moment, with harmony and learning, how to be present with honesty and integrity. Yes, Annabelle, I have been following the news of Dr. Michael Mosley, and sadly, he has been found, he has died. And I don't know, my gut feeling or intuition says he may have felt unwell, looked for somewhere to shelter from the sun, because he was found in a cave, and sadly passed away. We will find out. For my American friends, Dr. Mosley is an English doctor who is on UK television and radio, and went missing on a Greek island a few days ago, walking back basically to the villa or the hotel where they were staying. He was there with his wife and another couple, and he decided they were coming back by boat, and he said, no, I think I'm going to walk. So it is, yes, he was a great advocate of health and food. And it would be interesting to get his chart up, because most probably that Pluto Mars square is what has affected him in such a dramatic way. So let's just sort of move on a little bit through the week, because that is the main aspect of this week. And all week as well, yesterday we had Venus squaring Saturn in Pisces. Today, the Sun in Gemini is squaring Saturn in Pisces. And then on Wednesday, Mercury, that rules Gemini, squares Saturn in Pisces. So we've got these hard squares coming up from Venus, from the Sun, from Mercury, our planet of communication. So this is, it's making discussions, and you know what? This is not the week to try and sort anything out with anyone, be it an estranged partner, an estranged friend. This really isn't the week to do it. This is a week to sit back and smell the roses, so to speak, to just daydream, which is going to bring me nicely on in a minute to my word of the week, but I'll get there in a minute. So we have Mercury also squaring Saturn in Pisces. This is going to be words come out which are harsh, hard, and can sever ties. So it's like Mercury gathers or gathers its momentum and runs ahead of your thoughts, so that it's out of your mouth before you've thought it through. So if you get drawn into anything, if there's no choice but to get drawn into it, try and remember what I'm saying now. Take a step back and say to the other person, hey, I know we have to discuss this, but I don't feel in the right place for me personally to discuss this today. Can I come back to you? Take control of any situation where you are being placatory, being too nice, being too kind, being a people pleaser. How much of that do you still do? Because you are if you do have those kind of tendencies, this energy can really be harsh on you this week. Just take a step back. And that's interesting what you're saying, Andy. Use your words to express your feeling, not actions. Don't lash out at people. Don't get angry. Don't put your foot down in the car. No, God, not on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Please don't do that. Really bad news. And, you know, it really, I do find it interesting. I'm going through a bit of a metamorphosis at the moment. I've had Saturn conjunct my moon in Pisces and also Pluto conjunct my natal Chiron. And I will tell you about this because I think it will help you understand a little bit about your own charts and what to expect when these kind of energies hit. So I've had Pluto in my 6th house and still got it in Aquarius, conjunct my natal Chiron in Aquarius. This is about deep wounds. So this is clearly about the surgery I've experienced, but it's more than that. It's much more than that. It's about giving me a backbone, giving me inner strength. My spine has literally been rebuilt. Now I have to rebuild it psychologically. Where do you need to rebuild some part of your internal structure in a positive way? You know, different parts of the body represent different energies and different emotions. You know, we have 2 other brains. We don't just have the one up here. We have our heart, which is another brain. Our heart feels everything. Our heart, which is represented by the sun in astrology. The sun represents our soul. It's the beating heart of our solar system. Our heart is another brain. It has electricity running through it. You know it does. That's why it keeps beating. And it reacts so minutely to any feeling, any energy that we have. And yes, Andy's already 1 step ahead of me. The other brain, our gut, our stomach. That is our other brain, where we feel everything. We say things like, I'm sick to the stomach. Oh, I've got butterflies in my tummy. You know, we say my heart is broken by a relationship or a friendship. You've broken my heart. And you know, when you do break your heart, and I'm sure all of you out there have had your heart broken at some time, whether it was cruelly or through bereavement or loss, but the pain in the heart, the chest area is real. And it's a pain that you have no control over. It just comes over you in a wave and consumes you. And yes, Annabelle, gut, instinct, intuition. See me, intuition is key. It is. See me, bless you, thank you. She's saying, I'm looking so much more lovely. Well, do you know, this is where I'm going through this metamorphosis, and thank you so much for that. And other kind comments I've seen coming up in the chat. You know, I really do. And I know you know, I really appreciate you all. But this metamorphosis of Chiron is my inner wound. It's representing my spine. And I am someone who is and has always been too nice, a people pleaser, too kind, too placatory, floppy, no substance, just, you know, push and I fall over. And over the last few years, and probably since I started up my business 4 years ago, I've really grown up. And it sounds crazy to say that at the age of 65 and now the grand old age of 69, I'm finally feeling I'm beginning to grow up. But that is actually how I feel. And Saturn conjunct my moon was again in the 8th house, bringing endings, bringing change, bringing significant change. And I've noticed that certain people, I'm not tolerating their lack of respect for me, basically, and lack of awareness of where they may have been not respecting me. So, you know, you just have to let it go. And the other thing, of course, that I'm going through at the moment, which I think is super interesting because my sun is in Taurus in the 10th house, because I'm a Leo ascendant, is I have Uranus conjunct my sun. That is turning my life and me completely upside down. And that'll be what you're picking up. And you know, I've held back. I'm not doing very much on YouTube because of obvious reasons, because of surgery and just taking a step back. And it's really interesting how I'm noticing that because I've let go, it's just making it easier to do these videos and not get bogged down in them, but do them because I'm passionate about them, because I'm excited to do them, because I want to do them. And yes, Annabelle, it does come in waves. Yes, and tears can suddenly pour down one's face. Learning to be firmly kind is an art, Simi is saying. Yes, absolutely. It doesn't mean we have to throw all the babies out with the bathwater. It just means if you choose to be in my life, value me. And this is where Venus, that if you think about it, has been hiding behind the sun, lost from our sight. Venus is now just with her degrees beginning to move out from behind its position of being behind the sun. So Venus is about self-worth and about value. So Venus is saying, what have you learned whilst I've been lost from your sight? What are you learning to bring into your life? How are you learning to value yourself? And you have to ask yourself also why you allow people to undermine you, to pay you lip service. So all of this, I think, is going to get expanded in this Gemini season due to the fact that Jupiter is in Gemini. Jupiter, remember, is in its fall in Gemini because it rules Sagittarius, the opposite sign. Jupiter is the planet of luck, opportunity, and expansion. Jupiter has a shadow. If you look at a picture of the planet Jupiter, it has a big red spot, which is a storm that has been raging for millennia. Is that its shadow? You don't want to see the bad side of Jupiter where it turns everything into a negative and expands the negative. So that's what I mean about don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So if we stay with that kind of energy, Jupiter has been making a trine to Pluto. Pluto can be about endings, getting rid of, clearing out. Pluto is retrograde going into Capricorn, back into Capricorn soon. Can't remember exactly when, September, I think. And Pluto is going back to tidy up. Now, by the summer solstice, which I'm doing a separate video for, the energy will shift because that's when the sun will move into Cancer. So over this next kind of 2 weeks, you need to make the most and the least of the energy that we have in Gemini. The least in watch out for that Mars square Pluto, watch out for Mars in Taurus, have a look at your own charts, what's it doing? And also make the most of what it does bring up for you, what you can learn about yourself from it. Now, by the end of the week, energies have settled so that by Thursday, the sun in Gemini is sextiling Chiron in Aries. So there's some healing coming in there from our heart chakra, from our heart center. And then by Saturday, the moon is still in Libra, and there are no particular aspects. And the following week will be the build up to the summer solstice and the build up to the full moon in Capricorn, which kind of coincides with the summer solstice. So that'll be quite an interesting week of energy. But I want to bring you on to my word of the week because, you know, I like doing this because I think, yes, I'm just reading what Parry has written here, understanding to take the time to celebrate the many different blessings that you shared and that love that is always present and available in your heart and soul. Absolutely. Yes. Thank you, Katie. Thank you for saying that. You are so welcome. I want to give you the word of the week. It's imagination. Why is it imagination? Answers in the chat. But I'll tell you why it's imagination, because if you think about it, with all the advent of AI, Pluto in Aquarius, with the advent of social media and all these platforms where we can constantly be fed by other people's content, like myself, when do we get a chance to use our imagination? I remember when I was young, and I used to, for a while, I worked up in London, and I used to do the daily trudge on the train up to London to work. And we didn't have mobile phones. You had nothing. So I used to, and I'm sure a lot of you do this, I had 2 things I would do on the train to pass the journey by. I would think of a particular piece of music, an album that I'm listening to on an LP, on a vinyl record, and I would have memorized it, and I would play the LP in my head, and I would go through each and every song, and I would hear it in all its glory throughout the whole of the train journey. The other thing I used to do was I would make up a story, and I would just use my imagination and my creativity to invent stories. How many of you have done that in the past before the advent of social media and the internet? And how many of you still use your imagination? How many of you use creativity? There was a lovely comment recently, which I'm sure you've all seen or heard, which is, I want AI to do my laundry and washing up and shopping. I don't want AI to create my music and my poetry, so to speak. And that is the crux of the matter. And that is what, when I do my video about Pluto moving into Aquarius at the end of the year, I will be seriously looking at Pluto in Aquarius and how we must be so careful we do not lose touch with our imagination and our creativity. Yes, AI and Chat GPT can be very useful, but what can I say? I just want to read what Andy's written. Loss of imagination in kids is why my own won't have devices until they are old enough to have at least partially formed frontal lobes. Right now, they are so creative. I wish this for my students. And at that point, I wanted to show you this again. Here is creativity. This is Andy's son, Torin. He sent it to me, which I'm still thrilled to bits with. And, you know, we must encourage creativity, but not just in kids. We must use it in ourselves. Otherwise, we go dead. Don't sit there all the time looking at Netflix. Don't sit there being fed by social media. Get out of this addiction of scrolling. Watch me on YouTube. That's different. But I'm not on all the time, 24 hours a day. You can choose and pick when to see me, but don't, you know, but I think you get the gist of what I'm saying. It's really that, and see, here's saying you've got no one on your team. I'm on your team. Listen, everyone here in the Soul Fam, everyone watching this video now, everyone who watches it on playback, I'm on your team. I am on team Soul Fam Penny subscribers. I do love all of you. And I've just noticed the time. The word of the week is imagination. Use yours this week. Keep it in your frontal lobe. Use it. Doodle. Make notes. Draw pictures. Write stories. Make stories up. You know, just be creative. It's so super important. I'm going to go now because I've been talking for nearly an hour and my back is telling me, time to stop. And so is my tummy, because my tummy is saying it would like its supper. And a friend is coming round. She's cooked me some supper tonight and she's bringing it round and we're going to have it together. So that will be nice. Yes, Katie, your personal goal to keep your 5 grandkids off electronics this summer. Fantastic. Right. So listen, guys, word of the week, imagination. Really watch out for Tuesday, the 11th, Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday with that Mars square Pluto. Tough, difficult energy. And I will be back next Sunday. I'm going to, to the best of my ability, continue doing these lives once a week. The solstice video will be out maybe next weekend, maybe at the beginning of next week. And the full moon video will be out just beyond that. So they will all be out. And remember, I do have blogs to read on my website, pennydix.com. And I write blogs for each of the videos, except the lives. So, you know, there's a blog for Jupiter, for all the outer planets, everything, you know, go back, watch those videos. And, you know, because you'll pick something new up every time. It can be so helpful. So you are so welcome. There's a lot of people saying thank you. So listen, you are so welcome. And yes, my health, I'm taking it easy. I'm listening to my body. I've rested all day because this was really important to me and I wanted to be okay for this. So now I'm going to go and see who won the French Open at Roland Garros, because Alcaraz was playing Zverev, and I'm hoping Spain won Alcaraz because he's rather cute and he's a little bit like Nadal, and I quite like tennis. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to say good night to all of you and bless you for being here. And I look forward to seeing you all again very, very soon. Bye for now.